Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us. Team Mosso at the1916company.com. It is in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on our platforms. Reach out to us directly, tmosso at the1916company.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a very special and very cool 2023 launch, a late 2023 launch, the Omega Seamaster Planet Ocean Deep Black ETNZ edition. That is Emirates Team New Zealand, the defender for the upcoming 2024 37th America's Cup in Barcelona, and this was actually launched in late 2023 at the Villanova preliminary round. So Emirates Team New Zealand, the defender, that's the syndicate name of the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squad, which is the yacht club sponsor of the defender, and Omega in turn is their sponsor. So the watch, 45.5 millimeters in diameter in black ceramic, 19.2 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, 52.1 millimeters with a beefy 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now, let's say you want big pilot wrist presence, but you don't like aviators watches, or you want something more unique. This is definitely that. On my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, I can tell you it fits. It would sit perfectly comfortably, and I'm going to actually zoom out here to give you scale here. I'll let you decide whether this fits me. I'm not actually going to make the call. I could wear this quite comfortably. Being a big, stark black watch with electric turquoise accents, it's not supposed to be subtle, and it's definitely not a dress watch. You could easily wear this on a daily basis. I'll let you decide whether my 16 centimeter circumference wrist actually matches the watch, or whether for proportional sake you want a slightly larger wrist like 17 or 18 centimeters. That said, let's get back down and take a look. Very thick, over 19 millimeters, not slipping underneath the cuff. And you can see down the barrel, it's right out to the edge of my wrist. I don't know if it's over the edge. Over the top always exaggerates the width of the watch. I recommend you go by this angle right here. The strap, high grade. You can see it features the turquoise logo of Emirates Team New Zealand. In fact, you can see that on the reverse. That's the fern. And then we have the America's Cup. Emirates is title sponsor of Team New Zealand, and again, it's the combination of the color, the fern, and the America's Cup. And if you look closely, you can even see that the counterweight to the seconds hand is the America's Cup. The strap is made of a combination of a textile patterned rubber and then rubber. So essentially one material in two different colors, but it's durable, long-lasting, and looks attractive. We have a buckle that actually clamps down on any excess length, and then all the excess length is hidden underneath the clasp body, so there's no need for minder loops. And we have a twin trigger release system, so it's not going to pop open inadvertently. The upper components, so everything that might get scratched as you move your wrist across the desk, imagine this, well, all of these external parts are scratch-resistant ceramic like the watch. The internals of the clasp are titanium for durability, because the metal is just a better solution for this kind of component. Now, rolling back to the case, again, ceramic, hugely scratch-resistant. Everything here is matte finished, but we do have the well-known Omega lyre-style lugs, inward bevel, outward bevel, satin finish, helium escape valve. The watch is 600 meters water-resistant. Yes, I know 600 meters is not exactly 2,000 feet. Press the I believe button. So 600 meters is the maximum rated depth, and then if you're a saturation diver, and according to some tallies, there's just over 300 such people in the United States, you have this little device that you can open up, and when helium from your rich gas atmosphere begins to leave the case as you decompress in your ascension, well, you're going to have to get that gas out of your system, but also out of your watch. So you open up this little valve, and when interior pressure exceeds external pressure by 2 to 3 bar, that helium will come out. You will not blow out your seals. You will not blow out your sapphire. Bezel, 120 click. Very precise, has a very positive sound and feel to the detent. And you can see the ceramic bezel insert, which is as scratch resistant as the rest of the watch. Features a little luminescent pearl. And now you can see quite easily in the dark, you can readily distinguish between the bezel pearl and the minute hand, because they are a different color than all of the rest of the hands. Also note that the sub-registers and chrono seconds are visible. I like having visible running seconds on a dive watch because light conditions are often pretty low when you're diving, and knowing that your backup dive timer is functional is, well, I'm not going to say a matter of life and death if you've got a primary, but I would want my backup to be just as readable as my primary, and I would like to know it's running, and the running seconds hand with Loom gives you that. The dial, by the way, you can time two events here, one with the chronograph, one with the bezel. The dial includes an Emirates Team New Zealand turquoise blue 12 seconds hand, and we have a countdown scale on the minute register. Now at regatta, countdown is critical because you typically start with a advertised number of minutes and then you count down to the start of the match, which is one race within a regatta. So you can see here, not only do we have calibrations that make it easy to count the critical 5-minute countdown, but we also have a little scrolling minute scale inside of the register that makes it easy to do so. I'll just reset everything so you can see how it looks, just like that. So you have this countdown scale, although if you look carefully, you realize that it works pretty much like a conventional chronograph scale. So while it does have regatta-specific graphics and the digital counter, you can use it to time other intervals. Now, also important right here, we have these lovely satinated hands with vintage-style broad arrow for minutes and hours, and then a few extra features hiding in the background, such as a time zone function that allows you to move the hour hand independently. And note, I can have the chronograph running, the running seconds are not affected, the minute hand is not displaced, the chronograph minute's not displaced, but I can move that hour hand as I jump time zones, and I can even move the date forward or backwards as I cross the international date line. Now let's say I want to stop everything. There is a hacking seconds function, and I can bring that to bear. The watch also features a lovely accent of turquoise on the Seamaster logo, the depth rating, and then the sectors of the seconds and minutes tracks outboard. The dial is a matte black piece of ceramic, black ceramic. I don't know how well you could see this, but it actually has the chemical formula for zirconium oxide or ceramic right underneath the hands. And then there's not a whole lot to see on the case back because the caliber 9900 is underneath a solid case back. But you see it says Naiad lock. What that means in the modern era, previously, back in the 60s, Naiad was a new type of crown on Omega dive watches. Here, Naiad lock means you have a case back that always aligns top to back, so it appears properly oriented when it's in place. It's not askew or sideways. Underneath this case back, which, believe it or not, makes the watch thinner than a display, we have caliber 9900 automatic winding coaxial 60-hour power reserve twin barrels. It has the time zone function, stop seconds. It has a full balance bridge with a free sprung balance for shock resistance and precise setting. It has an anti-magnetic silicone hairspring, and it is anti-magnetic to over 15,000 Gauss, so effectively amagnetic. It also includes a coaxial escapement, the tri-level. It's a double impulse with one direct and one indirect impulse, but what's critical is that the contact between impulsed and impulsing surfaces is tangential, rather than the sliding type you get on a traditional Swiss lever, which makes for potentially better accuracy, power reserve, and reduced maintenance requirements. And this watch also features a quirky beat rate of 25,200 vibrations per hour that you'll find on many Swatch Group watches that use silicone hairsprings. It's a 54 joule movement, and it does have that master chronometer certification. I'll talk about that in a second. We also have column wheel function selection, cycling the chronograph with a wonderfully crisp action. That's the advantage of a column wheel. We also have a vertical clutch, which is seamless in its engagement. So when you start the chrono, it starts without any extraneous motion or jump. It also allows you to leave the chrono engaged full time if you prefer that, because there is no additional wear and tear on a vertical clutch. Now, the Maytaz system, it includes all the ISO 3159 COSC chronometer standards, but it goes beyond being a 6-position test to the cased-up watch, including water resistance, shock resistance, winding efficiency, power reserve, anti-magnetism, and yes, of course, chronometry. This watch is simply loaded with features. Gear up for the America's Cup 2024. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.